Good afternoon, Houndar. It is Farmer Ben here once again. This is going to be the first of a short series of videos, basically setting out how to some of the key basic content of the game, how to play it, so on and so forth. A bit of beginner's guide. Now let's begin. We're going to begin by looking at the base. So I'm just quickly scrolling around my base here. This is my base. So let us begin at the beginning. Now, when you start the game, you begin with this building here at the top. It doesn't actually do anything. This is your headquarters. Your headquarters building, it doesn't do anything, but you have to upgrade it regularly. Now, the reason you have to upgrade it regularly is the same as your stronghold in Empires and Puzzles. You have your headquarters, and it sets the limit to the level of all the other buildings. Now you can see my headquarters is set at level 20. This would mean that none of my buildings can go above level 20. So that's straightforward enough. 20 is as high as it can go, but if it was set at level 7, then all your other buildings would not be able to go beyond level 7. So you need to keep upgrading this in order to upgrade some of your other buildings, and some of the other buildings are really, really important. The other thing it does is it also unlocks the various areas of your base, which for some strange reason are all sort of shrouded in mist until you upgrade your headquarters. So it opens up your base, but it doesn't produce anything or do anything, and it needs iron to be upgraded. Sorry, metal, I believe it is in this game. But it's basically the same as iron in Empires and Puzzles. So very, very similar to Empires and Puzzles. This one, not very different. In fact, basically your base functions are more or less exactly the same. So to upgrade your stronghold, which is this building at the top, you are going to need two different types of building. They are your forges, foundries. Sorry, they're called foundries. These produce iron. They're one of the few buildings in the game which you need food to upgrade, and you want to be building these. So these are quite important. Now, one question which has come up quite a bit, I've noticed on this sort of online chat, is, oops, I've built one building too many. I've built. Can I get rid of one of my craft workshops and turning it into something else, and so on and so forth? The answer brutally is no. Once you've built something, it stays in your game. You can move it around. You can see I've sort of grouped my buildings so that they're a bit easier to find, and so on and so forth. You can move your buildings around, but you cannot actually change them or get rid of them once you've built them. You can't sell them. You can't undo them. So that's something. I mean, if you've played Empires and Puzzles, you'll be familiar with that. It doesn't matter though, because the game only lets you build the same number of buildings wherever you go. So if you are if you've got to level 20 and you've built every building, you'll have exactly the same buildings as me. They may be in slightly different places and different levels and so on and so forth, but they will be exactly the same. So you can only have four foundries, 4 of these little buildings, which I think are food storage, 4 craft workshops, so on and so forth. So don't worry, you basically have no control over the buildings. You just have control over where you put them and the level that they are set at. So that's important. Now you can see my foundries. I consider foundries to be really important because I build a lot of battle items. So my 4 foundries are all at level 20, and they are a building you're going to want to upgrade. That said, they're not a building that you necessarily need to rush too much. You're going to want a sort of steady stream of iron coming in, but it isn't essential. The building which you have to upgrade in order to get your stronghold up to level 20 are these buildings over here. There are, again, let's see, there's 5 of these, and these are your metal storages. Metal storages, they hold the iron, and you need to be upgrading these in order to upgrade your stronghold, because otherwise you can't store enough iron to upgrade it. Again, these are a building which doesn't do anything very exciting. You don't get to collect anything from them or whatever else, but you do need to upgrade them in order to upgrade your stronghold. Now, upgrading your stronghold is really, really important. You have to keep doing it, because if you don't, you can't get your other buildings leveled up. Now, don't fall into the trap. A mistake I made when I first played Empires and Puzzles was I tried to upgrade all the buildings at the same time. So it'd be like, oh, let's do this one and do that one and do this one. Some buildings are more important than others. And the most important buildings really to be leveling up and getting to a good level are the training camps. Now, the training camps here, they are over here. Now, the reason you want your training camps to be getting to a good level quickly is because these allow you to train different kinds of heroes. You'll see that when you go into your training camp, I'm sorry, it's a bit faded out. It's because I don't think I've got one that's, yeah, no, they're all in use. You can train, to start with, you can train common heroes, which is good for food heroes, uncommon heroes, which is even better. Common heroes, quickly, you'll see I've not researched it. I'm sorry the screen's a bit faded, but as I say, I'm in the middle of doing stuff. Low-cost heroes, again, that's not the best low-cost one, so I've left that. Colour-specific heroes, I haven't worried about that because I'm just busy training loads of people at the minute. I did research advanced, which was, I believe, level 10. Now, that's quite a good one. Early on in the game, because it meant I got some 3 stars quite early on, which was quite handy. Extra low cost, yep, there we are again. This one I've researched, I use this one a lot. Means I can have, so 2 of my camps are currently running extremely low cost heroes. So the extremely low cost heroes are the 2 which are lit up at the moment. So if I click on them, you'll see that I get a small cluster of heroes that I can use to feed up my other heroes. So that's why you want them running all the time. More excitingly is when you get to level 13. When you get up to level 13, you can build you can start building, where are we at? Here we are, elite heroes. See, this is this one here. That is very good because then you start getting 4-star heroes. So obviously you need to get your stronghold up to 13 to get there, and that's really important. But you want to be keeping at least 1 training camp upgrading with your stronghold. So get it up to level 13. Some people pause at level 13, get all their training camps up there, and you hope for 4-star heroes. They're much better than the 3-star ones, generally speaking, and so on and so forth. I did, I think I got 1 camp to 13, but then I kept on going, carrying on up. Now then, levels 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 are different, colour specific again, not very exciting. Number 19 is common heroes extremely quickly, which can be useful, but uses up an awful lot of food. And it's sort of a way to just blitz train somebody, but it's not... you can't really sustain it for very long because it just eats up so much food. And then lastly, the most important one is level 20 training camp, which is when you can start getting 5-star legendary heroes, who are the most powerful heroes in the game and the ones that really make a difference. If you go into my roster, you can see that my 5-star heroes, where are they? I've got Thrasher, Logan, and I've got another one waiting down here at the bottom somewhere, Crockett. So I've got 3 5-star heroes, all of whom have come out of training camps. I haven't managed to summon a single 5-star hero, which is typical for my Empires and Puzzles play. So that is why you need to be upgrading your stronghold, your headquarters, sorry, your iron foundries, and your iron storage, because then that lets you upgrade your training camps. Your training camps also need food, so you need to upgrade your farms. Now the farms are freaky because they appear to be grain farms. So there we are, a little grain farm. But for some reason they produce chicken food, wings, but not wings, even legs. Sorry. So whatever freaky grain they're growing there, I don't understand it. It's it's freaky, weird, genetic modification of some kind. So the farms are quite important. You want to be upgrading them to provide you with enough food. The food to research some things, in the same way you need to be storing enough iron to upgrade your stronghold, you need to store enough food to research different things. And the food gets stored in these funky little buildings down here, food storages. They're not very exciting. You'll see at the moment that I've got 4 of them. One of them I got up to level 20 because basically all the buildings, when you get them up to level 20, one of each type, you get some extra gold, which is why I've done that. But I'm not very excited by them, so I may eventually carry on upgrading them. But at the moment, they're just sitting there, not really doing very much. Then they don't excite me or interest me. But they are necessary. You need to be upgrading them. Not a priority, I would say. Upgrade them as much as you need them. But when you want to research something, if you can't store enough food, that's when you want to upgrade them. And you can find out how much food you can store by clicking on the food bar at the top. So at the moment, you can see I can store 1,709 food or 2,100 iron. So as long as nothing needs more than those quantities, you can do whatever you want in the game. Just it might take you a while to save up for them. Those are the key. Those are all the types of buildings you've got. As I say, basically you want to be upgrading whatever you need to begin with to upgrade your headquarters and your training schools. The other buildings are secondary to those. The other buildings largely support those. You are going to want to upgrade food and foundries, farms and foundries, because that makes it all a little bit quicker, but you want to keep it going. And for the first few months of the game, you want your builder to be working constantly. Your builder is not like the annoying little men who just wander aimlessly around your base and stop and salute you, which I think is ironic because they aren't doing anything useful. Stupid little saluting men, I hate them. So here are the stupid little saluting men. You can see they're all, I'm clicking on them now as they're wandering down the road. They just salute you and do nothing else. I mean, waste of time. They could help the builder or do something useful, but never mind. That's just what they do. The last kind of, there are two more kinds of buildings to mention. The other one is the sort of one-off building, which is your watchtower. Now, the watchtower produces food and iron based around how many outposts you hold. So you can see I hold 20 outposts, which means I get 100% production increase. And by leveling it up, it means that it's making lots of food and iron. It's quite a good source of food and iron. It is quite a good one. And I would say, it's worth just sort of trying to level it up as you go along. It's not super important though. It does take quite a lot of food to level up. It's another food building, which is quite good. So if ever you're short of iron, it's a building you can level up. And that's one thing I should have perhaps mentioned earlier is, you do want, you'll find there are times when you haven't got enough iron, enough metal, to be upgrading somebody. So upgrading a building. So that's when you want to use the buildings that can be upgraded with food. So your mines and your watchtower. Again, my watchtower is up to level 20. It's quite a good one because I own 20 provinces or 20 watchtowers. I thought I had more than that, but there we go. So I own all of the watchtowers that are in the game, so I'm right up to the end, complete the story mode, so that brings me a lot of food. If you want to see how to complete the story mode, I'm pretty sure I did a video about that at some point as well. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to pop off for a second. Okay, and there may be a brutal jump there, as I had to just run downstairs and do something, because there was somebody at the door, but let me just quickly finish off. So we've talked about all of the buildings in the game and their usage and what they do and how it's important to upgrade a few of each, but ultimately you only really rush to begin with to upgrade what you need to upgrade your stronghold and your training camps. The other building, and this one is one, different people have different views on it. I upgraded it as I went along because I use it quite a lot, is this final building down here in the bottom corner, and that is the craft workshops. So you can see I've got 4 of them. You don't need 4 of them. If ever the game introduces another kind of building you have to convert, I'll convert one of these because I don't need 4 craft workshops. I only ever really use 2. So the craft workshop is where you make your battle items. Battle items are really good. They are the things that are going to see you through on the harder missions, the special ops and things like that. So don't neglect them. A mistake I made playing Empires and Puzzles to begin with was I hoarded battle items for a rainy day, and the thing is, they're not really designed for that. You want to be using them, at least the small ones, quite a lot. The more rare ones, I would recommend you save generally for really tough missions and challenge events. But there we go. So you've got your bandages, just low-level healing, but really quite useful. Small charge drinks, very good. They're really handy for a Titan if you've got a special attack you just want to get ready. Antidotes, they're okay, but these ones only do a few heroes, so you're better off going for the upgraded antidote. Flashbangs are great on Titans. Chuck them in, there's a chance it'll miss you. Health kits are much like bandages, but a bit stronger. I prefer the little bandages, to be honest with you. I use them all the time just to keep heroes just ticking over. Attack boost, very handy. Again, on Titans, it's a nice one. Defense boost, similarly, can be really useful on Titans. Hand grenades, more of a challenge event item. Charge drinks, charge drinks are again really useful, power people up. Advanced health kit, same as the other one. Advanced antidote is a better antidote really because it affects everyone. So if you're fighting a Titan and it sets you all on fire, use the advanced antidote. How an antidote cures you of being on fire, I don't know. You'd think like a bucket of sand or a bucket of water would be more effective, but antidote does it. Flame bombs, awesome. Awesome weapon for challenge events and things like that. Don't waste them on Titans. The sort of battle items like that, they're not great on Titans. Lifesavers I don't use very much, but they can bring back a hero from the dead. Quite useful on larger events and larger missions. I wouldn't recommend them on Titans because the amount of time you're there is not really worth it. Combat boosts, a bit like the shields, and attack boosts. Again, quite useful, quite handy, but I don't use them a lot. Bit expensive in terms of iron and so on. Tranquilizer darts are pretty good if you're fighting one enemy. Can be useful against Titans that put up buffs, so use them on like the special Titans. Superior health kit's good fun. Experimental antidote. I wouldn't rush to it because it only affects one hero, which is a bit of a shame. If it affected all of them, it'd be useful, but for one, it's probably not. Shot grenades are a very powerful grenade, very useful. Hypercharged drinks, ditto. Chronoblasters, if you've seen any of my videos on completing some of the harder missions, you'll know they're really, really, really good. Set them off, gives you extra time and gives you a real chance of defeating some of the really difficult bosses in the game. And tactical resets, which are quite useful as they sort of reshuffle the screen and you get a bit of mana, although the mana takes a while to generate, which is why I tend not to use them that much. They're not quite as good as the tornadoes in Empires and Puzzles, which are a sort of similar item. And lastly, at the bottom there, you've got the Life Force Accelerator. You'll see that I haven't bothered to research this. I don't know if anybody really likes these things or not. My general view is once nearly all your heroes are dead, it does bring all your heroes back from the dead, but once nearly all of them are dead, you're probably running out of battle items and you're probably going to lose anyway. So I tend to not use the Life Force Accelerators, but you know, different people have different views on these things. So there we are. So that is just a quick run through of all the base buildings. As ever, I'm sorry there's a lot of chat in this video. It really is just sort of showing you all that's going on and what you can do. It doesn't it's not showing you how to win missions and things like that, but it's a few sort of vaguely important points which I think it's really helpful to know, and they are some of the questions which come up quite a bit looking over general chat. And it does seem there are a few more players starting to play the game at the minute. I think the global release is apparently scheduled relatively soon, and the other thing is, of course, is with this this virus going on, a lot of us had a bit more time on our hands than we used to. So there you go. The last thing I was going to mention is, so you'll see my builder at the moment isn't doing anything. Keep your builder busy, keep her working constantly. You can get a second builder with a VIP pass, which if you're going to spend money on the game is a really good way of doing it. When you click on a building you want to upgrade, so at the moment I'll probably just upgrade a farm. If you click on it, you can upgrade it. You just click upgrade, off you go, 179,000. It says 230 gold to skip the time. I would not waste gold on skipping your buildings unless you really, really have either a lot of gold or a lot of time. Save the gold for primarily for summons, which is up in the top corner. So you want to be doing summons and not daily summons. Use them on the epic hero or elemental summons, or the weapon summons. Sorry, the epic weapon summons are very good as well. So those are the good uses of gold. Nothing else. Don't use them to upgrade, to shortcut buildings. Just be patient. Anyway, I hope there was something in there that is useful for new players to the game. I apologise to the sort of more experienced players. This probably isn't. You're probably thinking, "Oh no, that. Why are you telling me that, Why are you telling me that, Ben? You're so stupid." But, you know, that's fair enough. I can only agree with you on that point. But these are a few sort of key points, and there are mistakes that I made, certainly when I was playing Empires and Puzzles. By not making those mistakes playing Puzzle Combat, I managed to get my base up to a decent operational level a lot quicker. And it meant that within the first few months of the game, I was producing 4-star and then 5-star heroes, which took me much longer on Empires and Puzzles. I think it was close to a year before I started getting 5 stars. So yeah, really just worth knowing a few sort of shortcuts to take and things to avoid. If you've played Empires and Puzzles, you'll probably have a fair idea of these as well. If you haven't, I hope there's something in here that helps. It just remains for me to say, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell anyone you know about the videos and get them to log on as well. And it remains for me to say, may death come swiftly to your enemies. This is Farmer Ben saying goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I was going to say goodbye. I hate this machine sometimes.